Hey friend, welcome to Grounded, the Vestibular Podcast. I'm Dr. Madison Oak, aka TheVertigoDoctor. I am the vestibular physical therapist who is here to help you with all things dizziness, imbalance, and vertigo. In this podcast, we explore the fascinating world of vestibular disorders. Come with me as we dive headfirst into a journey to discover the mysteries of the brain, the inner ear, and the balance mechanisms that keep us grounded. Whether you've been managing dizziness for one day or 25 years, we're going to get real about what it takes to manage dizziness, handle the anxiety cycle, and thrive, not just survive, with your vestibular disorder. First, I want to remind you that this is never medical advice. Remember, this podcast is for informational purposes only and may not be the best fit for you and your personal situation. It shall not be construed as medical advice. The information and education provided here is not intended or implied to supplement or replace professional medical treatment, advice, and or diagnosis. Always check with your own physician, medical professionals, and healthcare team before trying or implementing any information found here. Hello and welcome back to Grounded. This week's vestibular group fit win of the week is by Nicole. She says, I worked every day I was scheduled for this week, which I love, first of all. She said, I felt a vestibular migraine attack coming on yesterday at work, I assume. And in the past, I would have called out, but I just took my acute meds, did my breath work, stayed really hydrated, packed some snacks, and I did it. I'm so proud of myself. I love this one because the change of mindset between I absolutely positively cannot do this, I'm going to call out, take the day, which sometimes you do need to do that 100%. But knowing like, oh, I felt this coming on and I'm going to use my toolkit and just see how it goes. And she's like, yeah, and I did it and I was fine, is so, so, so important because ultimately this is what reduces the amount of attacks you're having, gets you back to kind of functioning at the capacity you probably want, and so much more. So congrats to Nicole. I love this.
Awesome. And I'd say it's another experience. So, I can do this. I do know this.
Totally.
Or you may say, I've done all these things. Something's still not quite sitting right. This might be one of the days where I have my rescue med instead and I kind of just weather it out, sort of thing.
Totally agree. Love that. Okay, today we are talking about toxins in your home, of which there are many. I have a whole other podcast about this. So if you are interested in this type of a thing, you can listen to The Well-Being. Every week we talk about something wellness related. But I want to kind of give a quick overview of things you might want to consider in your home because things like this basically start to overburden our body's detox system. And if you had told me 5 years ago that I would be doing a podcast about this, I'd be like, nope, you're wrong. But it is really important, and there are a lot of things to consider. And also, it is making people sick. So, is this like the one and only thing that you're going to have to do? Probably not. But I do recommend everyone think about these things on a regular basis because they do matter, and what is in your home ultimately does matter because our modern lives are filled with toxins that disrupt our equilibrium, our gut health, our hormonal health, and so many other things. So, does that make sense?
Yeah. And I say too, like, okay, I'm all about being a little crunchy. And then sometimes, again, 5 years ago, I'd be like, I don't know. That doesn't really sound like me. But, you become a homeowner, you become more of an adult when you're like trying to do the cleaning and things more on your own. And it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, if I have to worry about where I keep this cleaner versus that cleaner, or like you cannot use them at the same time because they'll like combine and like create a gas that kills you, I'm just like, do I need to have all this stuff? Like, can I clean a different way so I don't need to worry about that? Like,
I totally agree. My cousins are in a punk band and they have a song about one of my cousin's ex-girlfriends and how they go together like ammonia and bleach. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a good thing. So, yeah, toxins and chemicals are scary, but it's not just even like the cleaning supplies. I think cleaning supplies are an easy place to start, but even that can get confusing because technically anything that smells like anything, so even like your Mrs. Myers, which everyone's like, that's super clean. also can be super toxic. So this is where this all gets really confusing because yes, we do need to ditch probably the bleach, which is not cleaning mold, friends. Probably the Windex, things like that. We will give you replacements, but yeah, there's a lot of things to consider. And I think you want to take most of these things out of your home before you think about like, okay, I need to detox my whole body, which is like a whole other conversation. Does that
Yeah,
make
like
sense?
trying, yeah, like, okay, let me, the way someone described, like when I was doing a lymphedema course, was like
Mm.
traffic flow. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to take like clean things out of your body, well, how do you slow the intake so your body has more
Mm-hmm.
chance to get the things out type of thing? So keeping in mind
Totally.
like what can I do in my own home that slows down
Mm-hmm.
what's coming in? So either what's coming in from outside sources or things more outside my control, is that going
Mm-hmm.
to be at a pace or speed that my body is able to handle a little bit more?
Yeah. Because your body is an amazing detoxer. Like you pee stuff out, you poop stuff out, you sweat stuff out 100%. But our bodies are like so overly inundated with stuff from like, yes, artificial food dyes probably are a problem, but like that's not the reason America is unhealthy. That is not my, I mean, it's part of it, but like it's so much deeper than that. So like, yes, artificial food dyes are a problem, but if we just had that, it probably wouldn't be a problem. But then we have to think about like fragrances that we put in our house, candles that we're burning, the fragrances that are in like the Cascade dish soap, uh, the stuff that's in our toothpaste, like triclosan and other chemicals and whatever. So they're just plastic. Oh my God, don't even start on plastic. But so many things in our homes. And when I moved from our condo to our home, I literally got rid of everything that was plastic or Teflon in my kitchen and just we had to buy new stuff anyway, and it honestly made has made such a big difference. And I can like when someone turns on a nonstick pan now, I can smell it. I can smell the Teflon burning. Got to
Mm.
get rid of it, friends. It's a real thing.
Yeah, and I know sometimes it can be overwhelming, or sometimes like in my head, I know there's that mix of like, okay, well, I want to make swaps, but I also don't want to be like wasteful or this, that, or the other thing. So I know a big proponent that you've talked about in your other podcasts as well, the well-being of just like, okay, when this gets used up, just swap it out with something else. Like we get it, like it doesn't have to be this huge overhaul and you wish that you had another, like you want to divorce and get married again just so you can register and get all these new things. Like it doesn't need to be that large of an investment right off the bat, but like try to just keep in mind what could be some of those swaps. And then
Totally. And I think an easy place to start is just cleaning supplies. So if you look under your kitchen cabinet or in your bathroom or whatever, most people find brands like Tide, Cascade, Dawn, Windex, bleach. I don't know, just the stuff that you find in a in the aisle at Target or whatever, Febreze, you name it. And all, if not most of those things are kind of toxic. Like not kind of. Just the fragrances alone, let alone the other chemicals that are in there, are not good for you. And the reason is that those fragrances can be endocrine disruptors, meaning they disrupt the many, many, many hormonal pathways in your body. It's the reason, not the reason, but part of the reason like women get their periods and start puberty earlier than ever before, things like that. So there are other options. My favorite personally to go to is just Everything Branch Basics. I do not have any relationship with them. I wish they would pay me to say that, but they don't. But I do like everything they do. And then Bonsai, I think, is a great other one. Think Dirty is a great one. But if you just Google like non-toxic insert thing here, there are so many options. Like so many options using dryer balls instead of dryer sheets and things like that. And it ends up ultimately being cheaper in the long run. Like I spend way less money on cleaning supplies now than I ever did. That's an easy place to
Yeah,
start.
I'm trying to think. Like, I think one thing that was kind of like a changing point at my house, as you know, was like those like plug-in things. I was
Oh,
like,
cannot with the plugins.
I was team. I'm like, those like I was like those scents. I'm like, I have like a headache the first few days these are in. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't like them. And then have finally been like, hey, like I'm like, okay, once this is gone or emptied, like what if I just take it out? Like, is anyone gonna notice?
Did anyone know?
Very, very slowly. But it's like, okay, like how about like we open up the windows occasionally or like gosh, like those mulling spices for like wine. I'm just like, I'll just like boil this in some water occasionally and like just like, oh, this smells nice too. Or I went down this whole like potpourri, like essential oil type thing,
I love that.
but like we have a cat. Some of that stuff's really not good for cats. And I was like, maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's just telling me something too. Like
That is telling you something. If it's like
that's like
toxic to
canary in the coal
dogs,
mine.
toxic to cats, yeah, it's like that's not good. Um,
So
yeah, those
sometimes I'm
like
like, why do we have this obsession with things having to smell good? Like, why don't we just like go for like the absence of like things like it's like fine, fresh. I get it.
mm-hmm,
Like, open up a window, make sure you're getting some air circulating, like make sure it's not super dusty. Like,
mm-hmm. I agree. Everyone's like, I want my house to smell like something when, but it really should not smell like anything in your house unless you're like baking cookies or boiling mulling spices or whatever. And that's such a better and easier way to do so. But most of the ingredients in these things are derived from petroleum, which is also what plastic is derived from. Um, and so if you actually Google like what is in a Glade plugin, it's like a bunch of stuff that you cannot pronounce and not like in a funny like what's actually in a carrot way, but in a like that's really not good way. So like if I just click on some of these, um there are some concerns for general systemic organ effects, developmental, endocrine, and reproductive effects, digestive system effects, skin irritation, allergies, damage to vision. And obviously it's going to be different if you like put it in your eyes versus like smell it. But that is not a good thing. So I am overall against the plugins slash just like fragrances in your house in general. If I go in someone's house that has it, I do get a pretty immediate headache.
yeah, and I know even just like in stores, back when I was
Oh my
a kid and
Abercrombie 2000.
the only way you could ever get anything was going in the store. Like, there's like the laundry aisle, the this aisle, the that aisle, where I'm like, why are you putting them all by each other? Probably because like, yes, it's becoming this giant, like super smelly, like, ooh, this is a
Oh my
lot.
God.
But also they probably didn't want to spread it over the entire store because it was still enough to like bother people. Or like the Yankee candle store or whatever candle
Oh,
type it
don't
was.
get
I
me
was like,
started. I'm
just
like
like walking by, I'm like, I gotta go to the other side of the like street here because you can still just smell it. I'm like, how do people work in here? I would just be like,
Bath and
ew.
Body Works. Oh my God. I was at somewhere the other day getting freeze-dried strawberries for this cake I'm baking. And I was in the snack aisle because that's where the freeze-dried strawberries were, like next to the like fruit
Other
roll-ups and
dried
stuff.
fruits,
Yeah, yeah. And which is two or three aisles from like trash bags and not the same and like it's kind of one of those things where it's like at a T situation. So like if I'm on the long part of the T and then the top of the T, like three aisles that way are also like the cleaning supplies, Febreze, dishwasher detergent, whatever. And then on the other side of it is dog food. So I always have to go over there, always. But even just the trash bag aisle, the fragranced trash bags are horrible.
I still remember like, you like go to someone's house and like they
Mm-hmm.
have them because like we never got those. Like
Yeah, no, me either.
It drove my mom. She's like, I can't do that. It gives me a headache. And like,
Same.
she has like more typical classic migraines. So she's like, absolutely not. And also, she's like, it's just mixing with the garbage smell then. Like, you just
It's
smell the
awful.
fragrance bag and you're just already smelling trash, even though there's none in there.
It makes me want to die just thinking about it. Like, it's literally a horrible smell.
Or like you think of those super fragrance like in like a gas station bathroom or something. You're just like, oh, this just makes it feel dirtier. Like I
It
just
really does.
like I'm associating this with like all these things for probably like
Mm-hmm.
ultimately for my own benefit. But like if you don't have that association and it's just like, no, I think it reminds me of my fresh, clean, happy home. I'm just like, oh, but like again, less is more. Like
Yeah, it's really bad for you, you guys. This is like a bubble that I think I need to probably burst for some people, but it's like legitimately horrible for your health. And also, people don't like the smell. And I know most people with vestibular disorders are not putting fragrance things in their house, but anything from candles to Tide to Cascade, like I know if someone washes their clothes in Tide or their not even just their clothes, but like their sheets and I sleep in their house, oh my God, I can barely sleep. Or they are like in if they wash their clothes in like Tide or Gain or something and I give them a hug and it sticks to me, I have to go change. I can't. But the reason that it sticks is because it uses phthalates, which are plastics basically, like tiny PFAS plastics, to stick to you and like embed themselves into your skin, which is also horrifying.
and when I listen to my book about laundry,
I
it
love that.
talks too about how that can, like just be worse off for your clothes too, even. So
100%.
like um dryer sheets, like this has been a while since I listened to this laundry book, but like the dryer sheets, they were like if you were to take like your like lint trap out of your dryer and try to like run water over it, like it won't like absorb water if you use dryer sheets because it I don't science and things like the
Like the
stuff that's in
lint
it.
thing won't?
Yeah, because if you use
Whoa.
dryer sheets or whatever, so it's like something about it's like very like anti-water sort of thing. But they're like, okay, but now that's getting all over your clothes, and then you're trying to dump them in a washing machine full of water. Like, how clean are your clothes really going to even try to get if you're using something like that that's naturally repelling water?
And you know what naturally repels water? Plastic.
So like that was like one thing of like dryer sheets are like actually like again wool ball it you can put like essential oils on it
I
to
love
get some of
those.
that fresh smell if you want, and then they said they also like help tumble the like laundry so it dries faster and more efficient
That does
type
make
of thing.
sense.
So I think there was more about that with like how much detergent, like we really don't need to use that much, and it's like this that and the other thing, and like is that actually just wearing out our clothes even faster
That does
in
make
addition to
sense.
maybe not really needing to get them that type of like dirty or
Mm-hmm.
plasticky or fragrancy and all that jazz too.
Ooh, so gross. Please stop using that. So bad. Okay, next. And also, you will never notice how it smells until you stop using it, or how much better you could feel about it until you stop using it. And then you'd be like, oh my God, I feel so much better. Um, the next thing, easiest, and this then we'll leave it, but the next easiest thing to do is to switch out the plastic in your kitchen. So there is plastic everywhere in your kitchen, like more spaces than you probably even recognize. So most people are, that was my dog. Most people are like onto the no plastic water bottle train at this point. Not everyone, obviously, but a lot of people. Um, like a stainless steel water bottle or cup, rather than plastic or glass, of course. And then as far as one thing that I'm always like, I know pots and pans can be expensive. You can find them really cheap on Amazon that are like stainless steel, which is the best option you can go for. And stainless steel can be non-stick if you use it the right way. Um, we go over that on the Wellbeing Podcast. But the thing to know about cutting boards, which are really where like this gets me to the point where I buy people cutting boards for their birthday that are not plastic because
I have two.
you're
And
welcome.
once I got them, like weeks later, they started
Mhm.
showing up at my co-op, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, they are great. And obviously, like a plastic butt cutting board is like $5, and a nice cutting board is not $5, but they are not going to put microplastics into your food. So every time you cut on a cutting board that is plastic, you are cutting into the cutting board and it is getting plastic into your like chicken or vegetables or like whatever it is you are cutting on that cutting board, which is terrifying. So my favorite ones are Epicurean and then just any like solid wood cutting board, not the ones that are like in squares because those ones have like a ton of glue that are like holding the squares of wood together, but just like a solid piece of wood. And there are ways to seal it so you don't like people get really nervous about the germs in wood. I just put mine in the dishwasher and then oil it every time it comes out. And that way it doesn't snap in half. But if you are worried about that, you can use a disinfectant spray like hypochlorous acid and branch basic. Branch basics is a cleaner, and then hypochlorous acid is a disinfectant spray.
Yeah, I know
Solve that problem.
that or when it comes to like meat, no meat, because I know sometimes it's just kind of like a, oh well, I don't want to put meat on this. I know there are some more like kitchen food grade, like I don't want to say like glass, but like I feel like it's glass.
They have glass and stainless steel ones. I've never used them.
That you may feel better about, like this is like the one when I'm doing meat. I think a lot of the stuff that I do, like I'm either just like trying to like work with the raw meat right in the like pot or pan that I'm just cooking it in, and I'm not really messing with having to cook until it's already been cooked. Um, but I know that's not always like the immediate easy thing depending on what you're trying to do, but trying to just keep in mind like, oh, is this something that I have to do right now, or can I do it after it's been cooked? Or
I like to cube my chicken after it's been cooked because that's gross. And it's harder to cut.
yeah, I was gonna say sometimes it just feels easier, and I'm also just kind of like squeamish when it comes to meat, where I'm like, this is gross. I'm like, I just get very like, what am I touching? How much am I touching it? How much do I have to clean? Because it's all this raw meat floating around and like the smell, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna cook it and then I will do all this.
I totally agree. And then the other easy place to find plastic is going to be like your spoons and spatulas and stuff. Silicone is a way better option for like flipping eggs and flipping pancakes. Everyone wants like something that's kind of bendy. So get one that's silicone instead of plastic because that also like heats plastic into your food, which is concerning. And then try to keep it off of a nonstick pan, especially if those nonstick pans have cuts in them. Um, I don't know the exact number, but it's some number in the billions of pieces of plastic can go in your um, food after 2 minutes of cooking on a nonstick pan, which is scary. So I don't want to do that. No more nonsticks if we can avoid them.
And if you're super nervous about nonsticks, I'd say like there are ways, like you said, if you don't mind like the little bit heavier. I have converted people in my household from like hating cast iron to being like, oh, this is actually pretty nice because
I love a cast iron.
it's nonstick. Like it is a little bit
Mhm.
heavier. Once we got like a little like lodge,
Mhm.
makes these little
Mhm.
like little oven mitts just for the handle
Yeah.
itself that you can put on
Yeah.
it. Uh, has been like, oh, this is really nice because it's actually kind of
Mhm.
nice to have a reason to like maybe not have to wash it all the
Mhm.
time, and it actually makes it like perform better.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that scary to
Also,
actually wash.
yeah, totally. There's also a guy on Instagram named Cast Iron Chris, and he is a 10 out of 10 human when it comes to all things cast iron. Like if you have questions about your cast iron skillet, I literally just go there and like scroll through his Instagram a little bit because it is like super super helpful of things. Um but yeah, cast iron is great. Stainless steel is awesome. Ceramic is an option. They don't last forever like stainless steel and cast iron do. So if you're like, I just want to buy pans once. I know my sister got ones that are stainless steel but graphite in the inside, so they're not as heavy. Which is kind of a cool thing too. So they do make like lighter versions of them. I think they're probably more expensive, but
Yeah, I think with cast iron too, just like the
mhm,
thinner, smaller
totally.
layers like just end up being
Mhm.
more pricey, but that's like
Yeah,
the trade-off of.
totally. Yeah, her ex-boyfriend stole all of her pots and pans, and so she bought herself really nice set of pots and
And that's how you don't get back or get even. You just move on and
pans.
blow
Move
up,
on, move
right?
forward. Exactly.
The best revenge
Exactly.
is living a better life.
Correct. Goodbye. Anyway, so yeah, I think that those are the easiest places to start. If you have more questions about detox, detoxing your home, any of those things, we have a whole module about it in group. And then also, of course, we go into it in the Wellbeing Podcast, which my other friend Rachel and I do every week. If you have questions, you can find us there.